Hello class, thank you for joining me for Learning Module 3 Help for your MAT0018C Summer Online class. I am going to start with the first few questions of your homework, and you guys can ask me questions from there. Let's see. Alright, let's go to Learning Module 3A, and I'll skip around from there. Okay. This wants us to write decimals in numbers, or write this decimal in in words. We got to write it in numbers. So here we have 29 hundredths. So in order to write a decimal correctly, we'll talk about that later, okay, Ruby, when it's just you and I. 29 hundredths, you have to know your place values. So you have each place behind the decimal has a different name. The first place is called the tenths. The second place is called the hundredths. Anybody know what this place is called right here? This third place? Begins with a TH. Very good. Thousandths. And you got to remember the THS at the end. Anything to the right-hand side of the decimal has this THN, right? And anything on this side is considered a whole number, right? So we call this the ones place, tens place, hundreds place. So here, if it says 29 hundredths, I know that I'm going to have two place values, and I'm going to plop the 29 in there just like that. Any questions about that? Need this to be separate. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to move the chat box around so I can actually see it. Okay. Erase everything. Okay, I'm just going to skip around. If you guys have questions, just stop me, okay? So here we have 22 and 96 hundredths. So the important thing to remember is that the word and is your decimal. So if it's 22 and, we're going to have 96 hundredths. So tenths, hundredths. So I'm going to have 96 of those. So here I write 22.96. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, for this question, they want us to round. Let me erase that again. Okay. They want us to round 59 hundredths to the nearest tenth. So since the 5 is in the tenths place, that's the number we want to round. And we're going to round it by looking at the number to the right. Since this number here is 5 or greater, it's going to round my 5 to a 6. So I'm going to get 0.6. Anything after the digit that they're asking you to round to disappears or changes to a 0. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. Okay, number 10 you want me to do? You can write the 0. It shouldn't matter. Actually, I'll do it right now. You should be able to write 0.6 or 0.0. So I'm just going to go ahead and write 0.60 because it should recognize that that is the correct answer. And there you go. Number 10 is a word problem. Okay. So let me see what else I have. These are more rounding. So what do you guys think this one would be? Round 0.292 to the nearest tenth. What do you think that answer is going to look like? right? The first thing you want to do is identify what is in the tens place, right? So that 2 is in the tens place. So that means I'm going to look at the 9. Is the 9 big enough to change the 2? Yes, it is. So it's going to change it to a 3. Very good. And I could write 0.300. Honestly, 0.3 is just fine. Okay. No, the 9, anything after the digit you're rounding to disappears. So we're not going to rewrite the 9 or anything like that. Okay. Let's do a little more. Let me see if this is rounding. Oh, very good. Let's try this one together too. Round 0.213 to the nearest hundredth. So what do you guys think this is going to be? Not 200, because it's not asking for the tens place. It's asking for the hundredths place, which is here, which is 1. Good job, Abram. So since the 1 is in the hundredths place, I'm going to look to the number to the right, which is the 3. The 3 is not big enough. So I'm going to leave that 1 alone, and everything after it disappears or becomes 0. Very good. Okay, and let's look at example 10 because I've been told that that is a word problem. Okay. It's still rounding, but it does have words. It says Jala's hourly wage is $18 and 0.298. Round her salary to the nearest cent. Which one of these numbers is the cent? The nearest cent. Which one of these numbers? The 2, the 9, or the 8? Which one of those is in the cents place? Not the 8. Because normally, how does cents look? 50 cents, right? This is how cents really looks. We never ever have pennies that look like this. So technically, this decimal right here is in my cent place. Very good. So the 9, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 8. Is the 8 big enough to change my 9? Yes. So technically, the 9 can't get any bigger, right? What's the next number after the 9? We're going to change it to 30. Exactly. So it's going to be 18.30. Any questions about that one? Very good, guys. Right, right. Cent, and this took a little bit of thinking on our part. We know that cents looks like this. So technically, that's the tenths, that's the hundredths. So when it says cents, it is talking about the hundredths place. Because technically, if I put a 1 here, technically that's 10 cents, right? I want the nearest cent. I want the nearest penny, which would be this place right here. Okay? All right, good job. Let's erase that. Let's go to the next section, which is 3B. Okay. This Friday, yeah. I do kind of give you guys a cushion of the weekend, but the idea really is for you to shoot to be done by Friday. Okay? All right. So when it comes to adding and subtracting decimals, the biggest thing, again, we're not using calculators, so you should practice definitely doing it by hand. The biggest thing is making sure that you line the numbers up correctly. So I have this decimal plus this whole number. So notice when I wrote them, I lined the whole number up with the other whole numbers. If you need to write zeros to hold the place value or hold the spot for you, that's fine. And once you have it all lined up, it's just a matter of going ahead and adding them. So my final answer here will be 15.047. Or 47 thousandths. That would be the correct way to say it. Any questions about this one? Okay. Let's keep going. here we have some subtraction. So the same thing, since we're doing this by hand, we want to make sure that we line it up properly. So even though 4.9 is a shorter number, it's definitely bigger. So it definitely went first, right? 4.9 minus the 3.933. And again, notice that I used zeros wherever I needed to hold my place value. So now when I go to subtract, there is some borrowing here because I cannot take 3 from 0. So I need to borrow, but I cannot borrow from 0, so I need to go over one more and borrow from the 9. The 9 becomes the 8. He becomes 10. But again, I still need to borrow for him. So this 10 changes again to a 9, and then he becomes 10. So now 10 minus the 3 is 7. 9 minus the 3 is 6. And I cannot take 9 away from 8, so here I am borrowing again. 3 minus 3 is 0. Any questions about this one? Are you sure? Alright, we have a little word problem here. It says Sam has $10.60 and purchases an item for $5.35. How much money does he have left? Obviously, we're going to subtract. And again, 10.6 is really 10.60. If I spent $5.35, I'm going to subtract that amount. Again, we're in a situation where we need to borrow because I cannot take 5 away from 0, so I'm going to borrow from this 6 and make it a 5. My 0 becomes 10. I get a 5 here, 2 here, bring down my decimal, and 10 minus 5 is 5. So I have $5.25 left. Any questions about that? Let's go down to the end. Okay, this one, don't be fooled by the signs. Okay, again, this is a negative decimal and another negative decimal, so 2 negative decimals. So technically, I'm going to add these together and I'm going to get 7.6. But since they're both negative, it's going to be a negative 7.6. And I'm going to go ahead and type that in just to make sure that it is accepting proper answers. 7.6, and I'm going to hit submit. There we go. Any questions about that? Okay, let me go to section 3C. We got multiplying decimals. So unlike adding and subtracting decimals, when you are multiplying decimals, it's not very important to line them up. It's more about just doing the math. Okay, so I am going to write the decimals when I'm writing down my problem. But notice I'm not trying too hard to line the decimals up. That's only important when you add or subtract. Here, when I go to multiply, I'm going to multiply like I normally do. 7 times the 9. Let me change my color. 7 times 9 is 63. So I'm going to put the 3 here. I'm going to carry the 6. 7 times 0 is 0 plus the 6. 7 times 5 is 35. Now when I start over and I start multiplying using the 6, I'm going to make sure that I indent one space. Okay. And 6 times 9 is 54. So here's my 4. Carry the 5. 6 times 0 is 0 plus the 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. So it is important to make sure when you're writing the numbers down there to line them up appropriately. So I'm going to get a 3, a 10, that's 11, 4, and then 3. And then here at the very end, I need to count my decimal places. So I have 3 decimal places in my problem. So my answer is going to have a decimal all the way over to the 3rd decimal place. And I'm going to go ahead and type that in. So I have 34.103. And there we go. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, you guys still here? Okay, good. I didn't lose you then. Let's move this. Okay. I'll pick another problem. Okay. Here, same type of thing. Just keep in mind that they have us multiplying a negative times a positive. And I know that a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down now. And then I'm just going to come over here on my scratch paper and go ahead and do my multiplication. Again, it's not important to line up the decimals while you're doing it. It's more of after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and start. My 6 times 8 is 48. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4 is 44. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 4 again, 44. Okay, I'll show you in 1 second, Ruby. Again, when I go to multiply the 6, I'm going to indent a space. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 5 is 30 plus the 3. 6 times 5 is 30 plus the 3. I got 8, 10, that's 8, 7, 3. And again, I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So that would be my final answer, a negative 37.808. Now again, if you're not sure why a negative times a negative times a positive is a negative, I showed you guys this last time. It only works for multiplication and division. And what you do is you put P for positive down the middle, and then you put N for negatives everywhere else, and it looks just like a tic-tac-toe board. And then you can use it by tracing your finger whenever you're asking yourself a question. So here I have a negative times a positive. So I'm looking for an N times a P. So I know that a negative times a positive is a negative. Or a negative times a negative is a positive. Or a positive times a negative is a negative. It all works. Okay? Alright. Let's go to another one. Let's see what they got at the bottom here. Okay, this is just multiplication again. Don't be fooled by the parentheses. Multiplication can be written a lot of different ways. It can be written like this. It can be written with the X. We can write it up and down like this, which is actually how I'm going to write it to actually complete the problem. I'm just going to change my color. And again, just for my own sake, since I'm doing it by hand, I did put the longer number first and the shorter number at the bottom. And I'm just going to go through. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 6 is 30. 1 times 0 is 0. Don't forget to indent. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 6 is 6. 0, 0, 0, 3, 6. Okay? My 3 and my 6 is my 0, 0, 0, 3, 6. And I have 2 decimal places. So my final answer is going to be 630. Any questions about that? Okay. Let's go to the next section. So I'm going to go back here. Now with C, let's do some questions from 3D. Dividing decimals. Okay. So here it has 28.35 being divided by 8.1. That's the first deal, is to be able to set it up properly. Okay? Got to be able to set it up properly. So the next thing you need to know, was it 90? Oh, I can go back and check. Let's see. I'm not sure, Abram. I sometimes make mistakes. It could be. Let me clear this and let me go back to that one just to see. It might not give me the same question though, but I can try. That was C, right? And it was the last one. What was it? It was 600 times 0.15, right? Okay. I could have been moving too fast. This is 0, that's 0, and that's 30, right? That's 0, that's 0. No, I think you're right. I think I didn't line these up when I did it. 0, 0, 0, 9. You are right. Very good, Abram. I don't think you're slow. I think you're paying attention. The last one, I think I might have put the 6 over here and the 0 like this. My pen was giving me a hard time, so I kind of goofed. So I think you did good. You got another question? Was that it, Abram, or did you have another one? Okay. All right, cool. So yes, it was 90. You were definitely right. Good job. Let me go back. And we were on D, I believe, right? And we were about to do some division. Okay. It gave us a different problem, but that doesn't matter. Okay. We have 29.04 divided by 3.3. So like I said before, it's very important to make sure you actually put everything in the right place. Next is by hand. We cannot divide with this decimal here. So what we want to do is we want to make this number look like a whole number. And we can do that by moving the decimal over one place so that it'll be just 33. But if you change this number by moving the decimal one place, I have to change this number by moving the decimal one place as well, which means I'm going to get a new problem that you see me writing below in purple. Any questions about that part? You basically need that outside number here to be a whole number, okay? Now, I don't know what that means. T2KL, what's that mean? Ruby. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't know what that means though. So now, before I get started, I like to always go ahead and put the decimal that's in the problem. Just go ahead and put it up in the answer, so you don't have to try and figure out where it goes later. And next, I'm going to start asking myself, how many times does 33 go into 2? Well, 33 does not go into 2. How many times does 33 go into 29? Well, nope, doesn't go into 29. How many times does 33 go into 290? Now that I can do. So I'm going to estimate. I think that 33 goes into 290 about 8 times. I'm just estimating. So I'm going to get 4, 24, 264. Another 33 would make that 97, which would be too big. So I'm going to actually put an 8 right here. And I'm going to subtract 264. So here, I have to borrow, okay, because I cannot subtract 4 from 0. So I'm going to borrow from the 9. That becomes an 8. It becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. And obviously that cancels. So I'm going to bring down the last number, which is 4. And how many times is 33 going to 264? 8 times. So my final answer is going to be 8.8, which I'm going to go ahead and type in for you guys. There we go. Any questions about that? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and erase that. I made that easy. Yes, that is my job. You want to do another one, another division? You only need to move the decimal however many places you need to make it a whole number. So for instance, let's just say, let's say my problem was 1.327 going into 44.9834, right? I just made that up. In this problem, I would actually move it more than once. How many places do you think I'm going to move this problem? 3, because I need to move this 3 times to make this a whole number. And since I had to move that one 3 times, I have to also move this one. See that? Okay, so each problem is different. It's not necessarily 1 all the time. It's however many places to make that a whole number. Good question. Very good. Okay. So let's do, since I'm here, writing things as a fraction, I could write 4.56 divided by 6. I could write 4.56 divided by 6. Or I could write 4.56 divided by 6. These are all the same exact thing, just written differently. Okay, in this problem, do I have to move the decimal at all? Do I need to move it at all in this problem? What do you guys think? No, because this number out here is already a whole number. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and bring that decimal right up into my answer. And then I'm going to start asking myself those questions. Can 6 go into 4? No, it cannot. Can 6 go into 45? How many times? How many times can 6 go into 45? Very good. 7 times gives me a 42. My remainder is 3, and I'm going to bring down my 6. How many times does 6 go into 36? Bam, that's it, 0.76. Very good. Any questions on dividing decimals? Okay. So here's question number 6. They're just giving us a word problem, but it's obviously going to have something to do with dividing. A case of 6 items cost $8.76. What is the price of each item? So I need to divide that number by 6 to figure out how much each item costs individually. And again, I'm doing it by hand, so I am going to rewrite it as long division. And again, I am going to go ahead and put my decimal in my answer right away, because I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up. 6 goes into 8 once, gives me a remainder of 2. I'm going to bring down the 7. How many times does 6 go into 27? 4. Very good. I'm going to get a remainder of 3, and then I'm going to bring down the 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times. So that means each item costs $1.46. Questions? Okay. Let's see. This is the same thing. I'm going to go ahead to the next section because those were all the same. I want to make sure that I get to the difficult ones. All right, let's look at 3E. fractions and decimals. Oops, got out of it by accident. Okay, so it's really, in order to write decimals as fractions, you really have to know the place value names, because that is what's going to help you turn it into a fraction. Okay, so for this one, I have 0.5. Technically, what place value is the 5 in? What place value is that? That's great, Ruby. I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad it's refreshing. It should all come back to you. Very good. It's the 10th place. Okay? So since that is in the 10th place, what we're going to do is we're going to take that number 5 and we're going to put it over a 10, because it's the 10th place. And since with fractions we always want to make sure we reduce, technically 5 over 10 is equivalent to what fraction? What smaller fraction is equal to 5 over 10? Does anybody remember how to simplify? Very good. 1/2. It's going to be 1/2 because 5, there's a common factor between 5 and 10. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by the same number 5 is 2. And that is how you simplify. So let's pick another one. Very good, very good. Let's see if this is another. Okay, let's do this one. So again, the 2 is in what place value? It's going to be 2 over something. What place value is that in? Very good. So this time it'd be 2 over 10. And what does this fraction simplify to? Very good, very good. 1/5. Very good. All right, let me make up one now. What about 0.45? What would that fraction look like? It's going to be 45 over what? What do you guys think? 100. Very good. Excellent. But this needs to be simplified, correct? What number can I simplify 45 and 100 by? Very good. So when I divide both the top and the bottom by 5, I'm going to get a 9 at the top. And what do I get at the bottom? The denominator. Very good. So my final answer for the one I made up would be 9 over 20. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. Converting fractions to decimals is nothing more than just doing the division. Okay, so earlier you heard me say that I think we had a problem like this. It was 6.56 over 6, which I told you meant the same thing as 6.56 divided by 6. Well, 11 over 12 is the same thing as saying 11 divided by 12. By doing the division that's in the fraction, it's going to give you a decimal. Now, I already know that 12 is too big to go into 11, so that's where you add the decimal and a 0 if you need to. Okay? So now, instead of asking myself how many times does 12 go into 11, I'm really going to ask myself how many times does 12 go into 110? Because I know that 12 cannot go into 1. 12 cannot go into 11, but it can go into 110. I was saying 111, wasn't I? It can go into 110, okay? So 12, I know 12 times 12, right, is 144. 12 times 11 is 121. 12 times 10 is 120. What do you guys think it's going to be? What's 12 times 9? 108. So I'm going to say 12 goes into 110 9 times, gives me a 108, and a remainder of 2. So I would bring down another 0 because, again, look, it says round your answer to 3 decimal places if necessary. So that tells me it's probably going to be long. It's going to get sloppy. So I had a remainder of 2. I brought down my 0. 12 goes into 20 once. Gives me a remainder of 8. Add another 0. 12 goes into 80. How many times you think? I know 12 times 6 is 72. So that's probably about right. I'm going to get a 6. I get a 72. I get another remainder of 8. Bring down another 0. So I'm going to get 6 again. Now, if it says round your answer to 3 decimal places, then I have to go out 4 digits because I need a number to look at. If this 6 right here is in my 3rd decimal place, I need to look at this 6. So what's going to happen to my 6? Is it going to go up or is it going to stay the same? Up. So I should get a 0.917. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to type that in because I want to make sure that your homework is accepting valid answers. 0.91. Oops, I am not typing in the right screen. Hold on. 0.917. There we go. Any questions about that one? Okay, here's another problem just like it. I don't want a highlighter, I want a pen. Okay. So here we have write 1/3 as a decimal, and then it says round to the nearest thousandth. So we got tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that's my thousandths place. So I'm going to need to go out 4 digits again. So this is 1 divided by 3, which again, technically I cannot do unless I'm going to add a decimal and some zeros. Okay. So I'm going to put my decimal up in my answer like I always do. 3 cannot go into 1, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 above the 1. But 3 can go into 10 3 times. It gives me 9 and a remainder of 1. Bring down my 0. 3 goes into 10 again 3 times. I can see that I'm going to kind of get a pattern here. So I'm just going to keep going until I have 4 decimal places. And I can see now that I have 4 decimal places. But it wants me to round to the nearest thousand. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Is this 3 here going to change this 3? Yes or no? No. So my final answer is going to be 0.333. And notice I'm only writing to the thousandths place. I didn't write past that. Any questions about that one? Alright, I got about 15 more minutes. So let me try and get through as many as I can. Oh, okay. This is a good one. We got some order of operations here, which basically means we're going to do everything we've been doing so far, just all in one problem. So my order of operations tell me that I need to do whatever is inside of the parentheses first. So I have 18.8 minus 14.4. I'm going to do that first. And again, notice I lined them up this time. So I get an answer of 4.4. So now it's 11.1 plus 9.7 times the answer here, which is 4.4. Now again, my order of operations tell me that I need to work on multiplication and division before I work on addition and subtraction. So I am going to do this multiplication next, which is 9.7 times 4.4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 9 is 36, 37, 38. 4 times, and again, it's the same number, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite those down, keeping in mind that I had to indent one place. So I'm going to get 8, 16, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 4. And where's my decimal going to go in this problem, guys? What two numbers is my decimal going to go in between? Very good. So now I have 11.1 plus 42.68. And again, since we're doing it by hand, we want to go ahead and rewrite it vertically so I can actually do it by hand. And since it's addition, I do want to make sure I line it up. I'm going to get 8, 7, 3, and then 5. So that would be my final answer for this problem. Any questions on that one? Okay. Let's see if they give us any tricky ones. I'm going to do this one because I want to make sure you guys know what to do with this negative sign. Again, I'm going to do what's in the parentheses first. In the parentheses, I have addition. So I'm going to go ahead and add these decimals together, making sure I line up the decimals. And then I have 4 minus 8.54. This basically is a positive number, subtract another number. Since I have one positive and one negative, I'm going to actually subtract these. And since I'm subtracting by hand, I have to write the larger number at the top because I'm doing it by hand. I'm not a calculator. But since the largest number is negative, my answer is also going to be negative. Any questions about that? Okay. Thank you, Avery. Let me know you guys are still there. Let's see what else we got in here. Percent, decimals, and fractions. Thank you. All right. So, converting decimals to percents is pretty straightforward, okay? I'm going to just use the example of, I'm going to say 65. And I want to change it to a percent. What you're simply going to do, and it's always 2 places, I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right to get 65%. And the same thing goes for a percent. Let's say I have 75% and I want to change it to a decimal. Well, instead of moving 2 places to the right like I did up here, I'm actually going to do 2 places to the left. So technically my decimal is right here. Boom, boom. I'm going to get 0.75. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for all these. So here where it says write 0.47 as a percent, what do you guys think is the percent is going to be? Exactly, 47. And they already wrote the percent symbol, so you don't have to write it again, okay? Alright, let's see here. Okay, now just because they gave me a decimal that doesn't have 2 places, I'm still going to move 2 places to the right. So I'm going to go 1, and since there isn't a second number, just add a 0, 2. There you go, 50%. Very good. Very, very, very good. Alright, so now they want to take it all the way. Okay, we got a fraction, and they want us to go not to a decimal, but to a percent. So what I like to do is I like to take it to a decimal first. 1/10 is the same thing as 1 divided by 10. Okay, and let's find the answer to that first. So 10 cannot go into 1, right? So I'm going to have my decimal up in my answer. 10 cannot go into 1, so I'm going to put a 0 there. But 10 can go into 10 one time. So I get a remainder of 0. So 1/10 is equivalent to 0.10 or just 0.1, which is also equivalent, very good, 10%. Okay, you should be able to convert in between all three of those decimals, percent, and fraction. Okay? Let's see what the last one is. Should be pretty much the same. So let's do this one together. So we have 11 over 25, which is really 11 divided by 25. Go ahead and add the decimal and the 0. I always like to put my decimal up in my answer first. 25 cannot go into 1. It cannot go into 11, but it definitely can go into 1/10. I'd say at least 4 times, because that would give me 100. Give me a remainder of 10. Add a 0. It'll give me 4 again. 0.44 is equal to 11 over 25, which is also equal to what kind of percent? Very good, 44%. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go to the next section. Ouch. So what was that? Where am I, guys? Am I on 3G? Yes? Okay, thank you. Alright, hold on a second. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to start translating a little bit. So the thing you got to kind of know is that math is definitely like another language, and almost every word has some sort of meaning, okay? So we're going to start translating these words into numeric sentences, which are aka equations, okay? Regular sentences turned into equations. So the phrase what number, basically whenever you don't know something or you don't know what something is, we assign it a variable. Okay, so if it says what number, or find the number, when I don't know what it is, I'm going to give it a variable. The word is equals. It translates to equals. The word of translates to multiplication. And what am I going to multiply? I'm going to multiply 250 times 30%. But in math, we don't multiply by percent. We always go ahead and convert that percent to a decimal. So I could write this a couple different ways. Okay, Jenny, do you know which section it is? Did you guys get this part? So my final answer would be right here. Jenny, do you know which question you have? No, honey, only online homework. I'm not assigning book homework too. It's okay, it's okay. I'm sorry, I thought I lost you. No book homework. I mean, the book is a resource. It's, if you want to ask me questions in there, that's fine. There's an answer key in the back. But the actual grade is from um, the online homework. I would never make you guys do both. That's just too much. All right, how about this question here, though? Is it okay for me to move on to the next one? Oh, thank you. I try, Ruby. I try to be the bomb sometimes. All right, let's see. All right, so I want you guys to look at this and type in how you think it's translated. Type to me how you think it looks. I'll give you a minute to go ahead and type. All right, good. You guys are starting to give me some answers. Very good. So I'm going to write now what I think it is so you guys can compare. So it has 160 is 4.1%. That's actually going to be 0.041 because I have to move it 2 places to the left. Okay. Of is multiplied by what number? So we can write this a couple different ways. You don't actually need the parentheses at all. Okay, so let's see. 160. It looks like Ruby, you almost had it, but you have to convert that percent to a decimal. Okay. Avery, I'll go over it one more time. Roxanne, on the right track, but I think you moved the decimal too many places. Help me out, Avery. Which part do you need more help on, or you just want me to kind of start from the beginning? Okay. All right, I'm going to clear this out. Okay. So in the first problem, I was talking about how each word in your sentence kind of stands for something. And the word is and of are the most obvious ones. Okay, the word is always an equal sign. Okay. And the word of is always multiplication. Okay. So we're going to start with the 160. 160 is just 160, right? 160 means 160 equals. Now the thing here with the 4.1%, whenever we're plugging stuff into an equation, we don't want the percent symbol. So we need to go ahead and convert this percent to a decimal by moving 2 places. So 4.1% is the same as 0.041. So that's the number we would actually use in our equation. So 0.041 of multiply, and the phrase what number, whenever you see something that you don't know yet, you give it a variable. Whenever you, Abram, whenever you convert back and forth from decimals to percents, it's always 2 places. Think about it like percent, right? The word percent. What number is a percent? It's okay, Avery. Oh, you're using it on your phone? I didn't know it worked on the phone. That's cool. I learned something new today. So going back to, very nice. I'm going to have to try it on my iPad one day. I'm on my laptop. So Abram, back to your question about how many places. Whenever we're talking about percent, right? What's the biggest number a percent can be? What's the biggest number that represents percent? 100, right? Very good. So If it's 100, then how many zeros are in 100? 2. So, and there's also, in this little percent symbol, there's also 2 little zeros. So I use that to kind of help me remember. It's always 2 places. If I want to change this decimal to percent, it's 2 places to the right. If I want to change this percent to a decimal, it's 2 places to the left. As far as converting between decimals and percents, it's always 2 places. Okay? Alright. Any more questions about this particular? So the right answer technically for this one would be the last option right here. Very good, very good. I'm so glad that you guys are interacting with me. I like it much better than talking to myself. I'm going to clear this off. Alright, I want you guys to try and translate that for me. The best you can. Try to use what we talked about. I'll give you a hint. This phrase right here, what percent is your variable? Okay, that's where you would put your variable. So what do you guys think that would be? I'll give you a minute. Don't rush. Alright, I'm getting some answers now. Starting to get some answers. Okay, so we got 135. The word is my equals. What percent, my variable, of 320, which obviously can be written a couple different ways. 135 equals 320x. Okay, very good. Very good. Very, very good. Now, we got to make sure we're answering the question though, right? Because it's not telling me to translate, but I had to translate it to be able to answer the rest of the question. So it says your answer is what percent? So I have to actually find this number. Does anybody know how we're going to find this number? Now that I have my equation all set up, does anybody know how to find it? Very good. What am I going to divide by? Very, very good. Okay. Well, the other way around. The other way around, actually. So your goal here is to get this variable by itself. So in order to get the variable by itself, I need to get rid of the 320. Since 320 is being multiplied by the x, the only way to undo multiplication is to do the opposite operation, which is division. And since this is an equation, right, it has an equal sign, that means whatever I do on one side, I also have to do on the other. So here, by doing this, I'm going to get x all by itself, and I'm going to be left with this fraction. But it's not asking me for a fraction, it's asking me for a percent. So what do you guys think I'm going to do to get my final answer here? Because I don't want to enter a fraction. It's specifically asking me to enter a percent. What do you guys think I would do? Any ideas? How would I change that fraction? Very good. I could simplify it first to make it smaller and then divide, but at the end of the day, I'm going to get the same answer, okay? So that's exactly what I need to do. I need to first convert that fraction to a decimal by doing division, and I am going to cheat for time's sake here. So it's 135 divided by 320 is going to give me this really big, stupid decimal. Okay? And since I want a percent, and it says give your answer to the 1 decimal place. I'm not sure if it wants me to round now or later. But let's see. If this is going to be a percent, what would it be? I'd have to move it 2 places. 1, 2. Right? So now I'm going to get 42 point. Very good. I'm going to say 42.2% because technically it would be 42.18. And these directions say 1 decimal place. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say the 8 changed my 1 to a 2. So I am going to try and type it in because I know sometimes iMathAS can be mean to us. So let's check and make sure that it likes us this time. Yay, it liked me. Any questions about that one? Okay, let's do one more from here. We have what is, so basically what number is 25%, right, of 140. But basically what that means is what number is 25 or 0.25 of 140. So this is just multiplication. I'm just going to multiply these numbers together to get my final answer. So I'm going to get 0.25 times 140 is actually going to be 35. So I am going to type that in. Make sure it likes me. And there we go. Any questions about that one? Okay. Let's see if I can squeeze in a couple problems. Okay. All right. If 17 is increased to 22, the increase is what percent of the original number? So what you want to do here, whenever you're looking for a percent increase or a percent decrease, there's a couple things you need to do. One, we want to know of what number. It says what percent of the original number. So if 17 is increased to 22, sounds like the original number was 17. We're always going to divide by that, okay, depending on what it says. It wants to know the percent of the original, so I'm going to divide it by the original. Now, what I want to know is, well, how much did it actually increase by? How many units did it actually increase by? What do you guys think? If it was 17 and it increased to 22, exactly 5. So basically, you're going to subtract those two numbers to find the number here. Okay? And then you have to look at the problem to see what should you be dividing by. If it says what percent of the new number, I would have put 22. But since it said what percent of the original, I put the original. Now, by doing this division, right, 5 divided by 17, doing it the long way if you need to, right, it's going to give me a decimal. Now, once I get that decimal, I can convert it to a percent. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 17 first, which is kind of ugly. It's like 0.29411765. Okay, I don't expect you guys to go out that far. Going out about 4 decimal places by hand is long enough. Okay. And it does say write your resulting percent in decimal form, rounded to 3 decimal places. So watch out for this kind of stuff, because even though it's asking me very specifically what percent, right here at the bottom is telling me to write my resulting percent as a decimal, rounded to 3 places. Well, here's my percent as a decimal. If I'm going to round it to 3 places, I'm going to look at this 1. The 1 doesn't change anything, so it's 0.294. Now I am going to go ahead and type that in because, again, I want to make sure that I am interpreting the directions properly. There we go. Any questions about that? All right, here, that was a percent increase. Let's do a percent decrease. So it says an electronics store reduced the price of a TV from $900 to $810. What was the percent of the decrease? Now, since it didn't say anything, it means the original. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put the original down in the denominator. What is the difference between the new price and the old price? What's the difference? $90. Very good. Now, in order to convert this fraction to a percent, I have to make it a decimal first. So I'm going to make it easier by simplifying it as 9 over 90. And I'm going to go ahead and simplify it again and get 1/10 because 9 is divisible by 9. 90 is also divisible by 9, so I get 1/10. 1/10 is equal to 0.10, which is also equal to 10%. So I'm going to take my pointer here and I'm going to go ahead and write 10. There we go. Any questions about that? All right, very good, guys. Okay, so let me see if I can squeeze in a couple more. This is the same thing. I want you guys to try this one. Go ahead and try. Type in to me what you think the answer is going to be. I should play some music in the background, right? Some thinking music. I'm going to have to incorporate that into my lessons. Anybody getting close? No? Okay. Well, first things first, we have to figure out what fraction are we supposed to be writing. Okay. So it wants to know the percent of the decrease. It gives us the original and it gives us the new price. So in the fraction, very good, Abram. 9%. Excellent. In the denominator, what number do you guys think I'm going to put in the denominator? Very good. Okay, that's half the battle right there. Very good. Now, what number should I be putting up here in my numerator? Very good. Very good. 99. Because 1100 minus 1001 is 99. You were close though, Avery. You were close. So then in order to get a percent, this has to be converted to a decimal first. And if you do this division, you actually get 0.09. And once you're there, you know that it's 9%. Very good. You guys did great. Okay. Do you guys know how to do this one? Anybody? You're blank. That's okay. Okay. This one is a little bit of a pain, and honestly, I hate these questions because who cares what percent of the original price she paid, right? But let's see if I can try to explain it. I think that might be right. Abram, you want to explain how you got that? It's not quite like the percent increase and decrease problems, Ruby. So I know why you're saying that, but this isn't quite that percent increase rate. It's basically asking, okay, it was Tracy paid $190 for an item that was originally $500. So here's this fancy leather jacket on the rack, $500. She takes it up to the register and they say, oh, it's only $190. Okay? So what it's asking is, what percent of the original price did she pay? Because she obviously didn't. If she paid 100%, she would have paid $500. If she paid 50%, she would have paid $250. So it actually must be less than 50%. Okay? So I'm going to see if you, I'm just going to let you ponder that for a second. So what we're actually going to do here, and I started to write this, but I don't want to over-explain something. Okay, if I paid $190 and the original price was $500, when I do that, I'm going to get 0.38. So I'm going to say she paid 38% of the original price. Now let's go see if the computer likes me, because sometimes it doesn't. And it did. So it was actually easier than percent increase or percent decrease, because with those we had to subtract first. This one we just stuck it in there. I know, right? Can I have that discount? Where's that discount at? Because I did not find it. Alright, let's see if I can do one or two problems in here before I fall asleep at the computer. Alright, number one. This simple interest is all about this little formula here. I equals PRT. Now, as long as you know what each variable stands for, the problem isn't that bad. So I'm going to start with I. The capital I stands for interest, okay? And basically, when you have a credit card, right, and you spend a couple $100, let's say you spend $300. When you get your bill, the bill is more than $300, right? The bill is $300 plus whatever interest they added to it, okay? Now that was a credit card. We could also talk about a savings account. Right, that's how they do it. We could also talk about savings account, which we know savings accounts suck because they're very, very low percent interest rate. But at the same time, if you invest $500 into a savings account, at the end of the year, it's going to be more than $500. So the interest that they added to it, that's what that is. Okay, P stands for your principal, which for me is always your original amount. Okay, it's either the amount of money you borrowed for a loan, it's the amount of money you deposited into the bank, it's that starting amount. Your R is your rate, which is usually a percent, which again, when you plug it in, we're going to go ahead and plug it in as a decimal. And your time is your years. This formula is always about years, okay? So here it says Joy invests $15,000. So already, which variable does $15,000 stand for based on all this? $15,000. Is it the I, the P, the R, or the T? Very good. It's the P. I invested that much. at a 7% simple interest. Is that the R, the T, or the I? Which one? Which one is the percent supposed to be? The R. And 1 year is my what? Come on, look right here. Where's my year? T. Very good. So what's the only letter out of this whole formula that it did not give me? Right, the I. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in everything they gave me. They gave me P, which is 15,000. They gave me R, which is 7%, but again, I need to write that as a decimal. And my T is only 1 year. So all I'm going to do is multiply all three of these things together to find out what my interest is. And again, since it is after 8 o'clock, I am going to go ahead and use my calculator because I want to make sure I get some of these problems in before we cut off. So the interest here is 1,050. So I am going to type that in just to make sure that it likes me. And I'm not using the right keyboard. There we go. It didn't like me. Did I not type? Did I read the question? Help me out, guys. How much is in the account? Oh, I didn't answer the right question. I'm going to get my eraser. Did anybody catch what I didn't pay attention to? I didn't answer the question. I only entered what the amount of interest was. What the question says is how much money was in the account at the end of the year. So that means it wanted to know not just the interest, but also the money that I put in. So let's do that one more time. See, I even don't read the directions sometimes. So we got the I equals PRT, right? I invested 14,000 at a rate of 13% for 1 year. So again, this is going to tell me the amount of interest. It's not going to tell me the amount in the account. So the amount of interest is 1,820. But it wants to know how much is in the account. Well, it's my interest plus the money I started with. And that's how much is in the account. So it's really going to be 15. I get 15,820. Very good. All right, so I am going to cut this off now, guys, because we've been on here for more than an hour. And honestly, anything over an hour and a half, you forget anyway. But you should be able to do the rest of this section between this problem and the videos that are in your course. Don't forget you have Khan Academy. Don't forget you guys can email me. Sometimes I do make quick, short little videos on my phone. I believe my grades are up to date. I did notice I missed a couple emails that went to iMathAS. I guess you guys were asking me about questions. I'm sorry. I thought that those would be forwarded to my regular email. So by all means, if you ever send me something and I don't answer within a day, send it again. Okay? Even if you have to go through regular email. You're very, very welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to work on getting the recording posted in the class so that you or anyone else can watch the rest of it when they need to. Ruby, shoot me an email about your missing stuff and I'll write you back, okay? I'll see what we got to do. Okay? All right. Everybody else, thank you guys. I appreciate you joining me.